Damn. It happens every night. Every old night. And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine. I have not. Summer heat never treats me kind. It leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell. Yeah, I've been seeing y'all jawing. And I'll see you at another time. This highway. And if you're sitting at home talking about me being late, you better be singing right now. Early. I was early. Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and right to the hook right here. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there. Low budget. Live, the actually live version from the Low Budget Live Frozen Bar and Grill here in good old southern middle Tennessee, presented by the folks at Jinko Fishing. Y'all use code LBL25 over there at jinkofishing.com. Get you some of them Don Manners right there. We appreciate the folks at Jinko supporting us. And speaking of the folks from Jinko, so I am very lucky, and I hope some of y'all, if y'all are out there, you're not dealing with this ice apocalypse. We in the county I live in, luckily it missed us, man, barely. It was it was a very interesting weekend, to say the least. But we were able to keep power here. The utility system here in our hometown and our county, we had a couple thousand households that lost power, but we never did, and they were able to get those folks back online. But to the west of me, back towards Counts, Tennessee, Pickwick Lake, the folks from Jinko, a couple of them live over that way, and dude, it is it's a war zone. They described it. The National Guard showed up over there today. I've been trying to figure out how to get over there to help, and man, you can't get there. So thoughts and prayers to everybody. Hopefully things will thaw out in the next couple of days, and we can get those folks some help. Honestly, food, whatever. Like it's very, very bad over in like Pickwick Dam, Tennessee, Counts, Tennessee, that kind of area of Tennessee. And then around Kentucky Lake, there was a lot of damage as well. And then of course, Nashville got absolutely hammered. So just want to say that, yeah, we got 89,000 people. So 89,000 people must have power here. I've been Robbie Tubbs. I've been out without power. I'm going to throw your comment up here, Robbie. I've been out without power for 44 hours on Yellow Creek. That's on the lower end of Pickwick Lake. If you're familiar with good old Pickwick right here. Robbie, I hear it's awful, man, over that way. Everybody that I'm talking to, I got a lot of folks near and dear to me in that part of the world. And they said the National Guard compared it to a Category 3 hurricane today when they first showed up, as far as like the damage with the trees and the power lines down. So, man, it's absolutely it's crazy. And for us, we're very fortunate. Like I said, we just barely, like the northern end of our county got hit pretty hard, but we had some ice here. I live in the land of a bunch of pine trees here around the house, and we're pretty damn lucky. But man, again, I'm going to try to help any way I can when I can get there. My guys I was talking to today said, dude, there's literally nothing you can do, because our highways here were pretty clear today. So I was like, I want to load up the truck, load up a trailer, do whatever I need to do, get over there, whether that's, taking generators, taking food, taking water, all the things, coolers, whatever we could do. And they're like, don't even try it. Do not even try it. So, man, I see that Fort Worth. Yeah. And this thing, like Todd Castledine, who will join us here in just a little bit, when we were planning this, we're like, we might not even be able to do this, because he might not have power. I might not have power. He's been fortunate as well. A lot of the area around him has not been as fortunate as he has been, and I have been. And that's Fred Ashcraft. That's an understatement right there, man. The lineman crews, so many folks out here battling these elements right now, because it's so dang cold, man. Our wind chill here in Lawrenceburg today, where I'm at, was 0. like all day long. Freaking brutal. So my place is close to Noah Dickinson. He's been making mud angels. My place is close to where the Tom Bigby starts. No power since 2:16 a.m. Sunday morning. Jeff, man, I hate to hear it, dude. That's kind of what I've been hearing from all my Pickwick folks, is that around that 3 a.m. time frame is when it started over there. So appreciate y'all joining in. Hopefully we can keep you entertained, keep your mind off of it for a little bit whenever Todd gets here. But this is just unprecedented, to start down in Texas and end up affecting, all the way to the Northeast and so many states in between, man. I was hoping for some snow. I'm a big kid. I like to get out in it, but holy cow, it definitely we did not get snow. Maybe like close to an inch Saturday morning, and then since then it's just kind of been, rain, sleet, ice mixture here at my house for sure. John Mango, it's still snowing here in Massachusetts. Is that Maine or Massachusetts? Is that Maine? MA? John, you're gonna have to help me out. I failed geography, apparently. Well over 2 feet of snow. I just know this, John. I see you all the time. You're a low lifer. I feel like you're a great guy. I still don't want to come visit you in 2 feet of snow. I'll just say that right here. I'm not built for 2 feet of snow. Maine. Yeah, that's right. MA. Zona Spirit Animal chiming in there with Maine. Yes, because I almost nailed it. Miss K Donaldson, prayers for everyone affected. Yeah, absolutely, man. We touch a lot of folks with the Alabama Bass Trail, NPFL, and of course with this podcast, folks all over the country that we know. And I've been burning up my thumbs, texting as many people as I can, checking on the Massachusetts, John Mango says. All right. Massachusetts. So been texting, checking in with everybody I know all over the country. And it is certainly a crazy, crazy time, man, to say the very least. Before we get rolling here, and our guest, the one and only Fat Todd Castledine, joins us. I'm excited to talk to old Todd. It's been a minute since we've done one of these, and we've done several over the years. But I want the folks at Pro Guide Batteries have started something that I want to help spread the word on. You can register for this event on February 2nd, but it's going to be on Table Rock Lake, I believe, in April. I do not have the dates in front of me, but it's the Pro Guide Hope Classic. So Pro Guide, the president there, Pate, his son has unfortunately been battling childhood cancer for a couple years now, and they basically, more times than not, they live at St. Jude's. Okay, so this Hope Classic is going to be a St. Jude's benefit tournament, like the Dick Hiley, I believe it's called, up there in Minnesota, that is so popular, and they raise over $1 million every year. Absolutely, just a fantastic event. Okay, so Pro Guide, they're going to kind of mirror that event and try to do one down in the Midwest. So it will be at Table Rock Lake. You can start registering for this thing through Fishing Chaos on February the 2nd. I believe it is a $250 entry fee. But the cool thing about the event there in Minnesota, and this one, is you're required to be in the event. You have to make or collect at least a $500 donation for St. Jude's. Okay, so this is all the money going towards St. Jude's, which does incredible work. We all know that. And man, the guys at Pro Guide I've worked with for years and years and years, and it makes me very proud that I get to work with people that support this show, and I've worked so closely with for a number of years. They work with the Alabama Bass Trail, worked with the NPFL over the years. Just incredible people, man. And so want to get the word out on that before we get into anything else. I'm so proud to represent and work with people that would go the extra step, especially, Pate, what his family's gone through. They know what St. Jude's means to so many families. So to give back like that and try to get people more involved in St. Jude's, man, my hat's off to them. So definitely they know how powerful St. Jude's can be. So February 2nd, I believe that tournament is in April. Again, I am failing you all by not having that date, but let's see. Here we go. Great point right here from M. Jones. St. Jude's is one of those charities that everyone should donate to and never worry if it's legit. St. Jude has saved so many lives. And
I understand your comment there 1,000,000% from the standpoint of when Gerald Swindle and I did the beard war a few years ago for breast cancer to kind of honor my mom. And what you find out when you go down that road of charities is there are so many charities that absolutely do not give the money that you are giving to said charity. It's a percentage. They are businesses at the end of the day, but St. Jude's is definitely not one of those at all. And all proceeds go right there to St. Jude's Hospital. So that is absolutely the factual right there. All right. Todd's going to be here in just a few minutes, guys. So we got the opens starting this week. So opens are kicking off down in Florida. Everybody's in Florida. Everybody's in Florida, I think, right now, except for Bassmaster, which the Elite Series is going to start on Guntersville. And as Miss Kay, who's in the chat, so many years ago when the Alabama Bass Trail started, I was in that event there, and we had ice covering about half the lake, all the creeks, water temperature was in the 30s. That's what the Elite boys are fixing to get into. It's probably not going to look like that BPT looked a couple weeks ago. They start practice on Sunday, I believe, and I don't think it's ever supposed to get out of the above freezing there, and some lows in the teens from what I've seen. So I think they're in for it over on Gville a little bit. Fish are going to bite, I'm sure. It's a no forward-facing sonar event, but what a way to kick things off. But other than that, you got Pro Circuit fixing to start in Florida. I believe it's next week. The first open of the year is this week, and then you got dual threat down there. We're going to talk about dual threat. Lots going on in Florida right now. Lots going on in Florida. And I agree with Miss K. Thank goodness there isn't an ABT. I am surprised there's not an ABT because normally the terrible weather follows us around. But maybe it's just the entire sport of bass fishing. M. Jones, how about the Bassmaster College boys and girls put on a show? They did down at the Kissimmee chain as well, I believe is where that was at. And Trace Antunes, that just won the first ABT of the year, rolled right south and won that event for the University of Montebello. Them Falcons beating up on folks. There we go. May 9th, guys. I'm jumping around, but that thank you, Paul. Paul Long putting up the Pro Guide Hope Classic dates there. There we go. May 9th, 2026, Indian Point on Table Rock. There you go. But you can start signing up for that event February the 2nd. February the 2nd. All right. Prediction, first Elite rescheduled. Okay, Fred. Y'all get after it in the chat on that. Do you think they'll reschedule? I think there ain't no damn way they reschedule it. And here's why. It takes a lot, as Miss K, and we'll talk about this tonight when we talk about all this craziness going on in the fishing world right now. But Miss K can tell you from running events, man, rescheduling is such a nightmare. It's so hard, but especially to be the kickoff of the year, that time frame, I don't think they'll reschedule it. And I looked at the 10-day. It's going to suck in practice for sure, but they're going to get some warmer weather towards the end of the week, 40s, 50s for high. I think no way they reschedule. I don't think. It takes a mountain to move those events. And then when you're trying to schedule around other events you've already got scheduled and whatnot, and then they're fishing in Alabama again the next week. So I don't know. I think now, look, if they had the weather they're going to have the first couple of days of practice, they might move something potentially, but I think they'll be full send ahead. They're ready to rock and roll. That's a really good point too. That lake won't have a date for you to reschedule to. Yeah, there's so many events on Guntersville this year, like every year, that I don't see that happening. Zona's spirit animal coming in. Nope, it will make for good TV. I couldn't agree more. I love these early terms because you never know what you're going to get. I think like BPT over there was so interesting from the scope perspective, them smashing those 3 hours, but then like what Jacob Walker did and just caught giants every day. Like if that had just been a 5-fish tournament, Jacob blows the thing out of the water. That's obviously not the format. He damn sure almost won it anyways. But man, that deal he was on was so much fun to watch and keep up with. And I think you're going to see, you'll see some shallow fish get caught at Guntersville this week. Maybe not the Jacob deal in the dirt with all this cold we've had, man. That water temperature is going to plummet over there this week. You got to think. But they're going to catch them. It's Guntersville. It's the best lake in the country for the pressure it gets, period. End of story. That's going to happen. So it's busy right now. Things are starting to happen all over the place. Of course, we kicked off the ABT last weekend and didn't have snow and ice. So we had fog, but we didn't have snow and ice. So we're glad to see it. Joe G says, suck it up and get after it. Can't have an angler of the year if you don't fish all 4 seasons, in my opinion. I am in agreement on that. When I was growing up many years ago, the dadgum Bassmaster wasn't the Elites in Top 150, the Tour, they've called it, Top 100, BP Top 100. They've called it so many different things over the years, but they would start in August. Like the season started in August and ended in like May, but they fished in the fall, they fished in the winter, they fished in the summer. And then the classic would be, in that June time frame. And you're right. That angler of the year was a true angler of the year. You had to catch them in so many different seasons and crazy conditions. So I'm all about just fishing and whatever. Now I know a lot of the elite guys I've talked to, they're not looking forward to duking it out in that cold. And I can't say that I necessarily blame them for that at all. Let me check. Hang on. Todd says he hasn't got the link from me, and he's definitely received it. I emailed it to him. Now I'm going to text it to him. I was wondering why Todd has not shown up yet. Todd and I both trying to use technology is very, very, very scary, to say the least. Real quick in the chat before he gets here, give me some predictions. Winner at Guntersville. I'm not going to pick. Y'all pick. All y'all are doing the fantasy fishing. 193,000 watching. Go ahead. Fog delay is quite possible. You are dead on with that. Miss K can tell you. I see him waiting in the wings here. So I gotta intro my guy right here as this. I made a big announcement this weekend. Okay. I made a big announcement. I decided to start my own tournament trail. All right. And we're calling it the Triple Threat Series. My lovely bride, that's what we refer to her as, is the Triple Threat, right? She's going to be the tournament director. Okay. That she don't know that yet. I said that in my post I made today. She don't know that yet. But I made this announcement. The Triple Threat Series is going to pay around $9 million out. No entry fee. No entry fee. And don't know how we're going to do it. No clue. No clue. Might broadcast it on ESPN. Might broadcast it on YouTube. Might not broadcast it all. Might not even have weigh-ins. Maybe every fish count. Maybe it's 5 fish. I don't know yet. But I'll tell y'all at the first tournament. And, man, I made that announcement this Saturday, having a snow day. And the first guy to sign up, he said, I'm in. I'll support anything you do, Luke Duncan. I got a text. He said he wanted to get ahead of the crowd, right? And that was this fella right here, Todd freaking Castledine. I don't even know who he's fishing with. Some say Kelly Owens. I don't know. That's what I've heard. Could be Russell Cecil. He could fish it by himself. He's so good. But he signed up for the Triple Threat Series. And now here he is, ladies and gentlemen, joining us. Boat number 1 in the Triple Threat Series, Todd Castledine. Are you pumped up?
Boat one and probably only boat 1, Well, I don't know. I'm sure after a couple, we'll probably have thousands of applicants.
Buddy,
thousands.
Let me tell you something. I know. Is this true? Hang on a second. Todd primping for the limelight. Were you getting your hair ready? Is that why you weren't here?
No, I'm having to do this on my phone. The email. I sent you 4 messages.
Oh, I didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it.
I was like, hey, I was like, my wife was like, what are you waiting on? I'm like, he won't send me an email. So I'm just,
So I did send it. I sent it before everyone went live. But so to go back, you were boat number 1. But buddy, I've had some hammers reach out. Okay. People are trusting me, Todd, that the payout could be what I say it's going to be. I mean, that's kind of how fishing goes these days.
I'm scared to even comment on this thing. I got, I don't know, man. I got conflicting reports today or yesterday about it.
About my competition in my team tournament.
your
Seriously,
team, like just the whole thing about it. I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know how you're going to pay for it. I know you got investors coming out from everywhere.
dude.
I've
Yeah.
seen, but here's the best part is I've seen your TikToks because that's the only information I can find out about it.
Okay.
It's from
Yeah.
TikTok,
My
and
burner TikTok
it's
account.
a random page. You got a random page on it that has no real videos, no pictures of you, no nothing, just a random comment about some tournament that's going to be the best tournament forever.
Ever, forever and ever. Amen. Yeah, it's going to be the best. I don't know what's going to make it the best yet, but it's going to be the best. So I don't know. I appreciate your support on it. You know, there have been a lot of people came. Jordan Lee reached out to me. Hey, can I get? He's boat 2. The Nut Brothers reached out. They're boat number 3. So you got some competition already.
I'm not even worried about where you go, and I don't even care if you change the lakes on me. I'm showing up. I'll drive anywhere, dude. It don't bother me.
So somebody today in my comment said, "Is it going to be a hybrid hunter only tournament?" And I said, "Maybe."
Well, you might start off that way, but you liable to change it. So I'll just that doesn't bother me, Luke. I'll wait on your every move and go where you tell me to go.
See, this is why we've always been friends. You support me no matter what. You know, you support
no matter
me no matter what, man. I really do.
I don't even know the rules. I don't know anything about it. Don't care.
Yeah.
It's gonna be wild, wild west, dude. I'll love it.
Hey, we're living in those times.
I'm liable to show up with like multiple team partners. You never know.
Swap up every day of the event.
I mean, what does it matter?
The requirement is you've got to fish with Britt. You got to fish with Brittany. That's it. That's the only.
With who?
With your lovely bride.
No, that's like a divorce waiting to happen. Hey, hush in there. We've spent like last 3 days together stuck in this house, man.
Listen, I could not. They were all talking in the comments that I was going to be late, and they didn't even know I've been sitting here for an hour. I was so ready to get away from the triple threat. Love you, babe, if she's watching. But we've been 3 days, bud, just way too close. Way too close. Without a doubt.
I'm just glad we've had electricity. So
no doubt, man. A lot of folks in the comments are saying they do not have it. Some been without it for 48 hours. I know over in the Pickwick Lake area, as far as close to me, is really a train wreck. It sounds like Fort Worth, Dallas, or not too far from you is pretty bad. Do y'all have any outages close to you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we just got noticed that we got school canceled tomorrow again. So I think one of the principals drove the roads to see if it was all right. Met a guy coming down the freeway or down the country road. I mean, the highway, you know, across the bridge going about 50. And he said he freaking did a 180 on it. And he was going about 10 miles an hour and dodged him. That guy hit the railing. He's like, yeah, I guess we're not having school. You know, they got buses and stuff. They're not going to be, we're not having it.
Yeah, well, like all of the back roads here, as we like to call them, you know, the rural route stuff. I mean, that's where the buses got to run for the most part. And yeah, I don't think our kids will go to school here. I mean, maybe all week. A lot of it melted.
Oh, no, we ain't that bad.
A lot of it melted today, but still, man, you get in certain parts of our county, it sounds and looks bad, you know, from social media. We still miss the major power outage stuff. The roads are trashed. I did get out this afternoon because I'm a redneck. And I'm going to go investigate. And it was a little bit better than it was on Saturday today, to say the least. I'm going to start with this question there, my good old friend, boat number 1 in the Triple Threat series. There's another series out there that's trying to compete with me. They're telling, you know, they said, hey, we're going to charge an entry fee. And then they were like, hey, we're giving everybody their money back. No entry fee. Come to Florida. Fish with us. It's the DTF. Don't trust finances tour. I don't know. For what we're hearing. But let me ask you this, because, and let me explain this for the people. Obviously, we're joking. We're cutting up about do not sign up for the Triple Threat series. All right. I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. It's never happening. Miss K runs tournaments. The folks at MPFL can run tournaments. I don't want any part of that. I just want to talk about bass fishing, not run a tournament. But this tournament trail kicked off. I've not heard a ton about it until the last couple of weeks. Some buddies of mine are fishing it just like yours. and they got to Florida. Hey, man, it's all roses. Everybody's going to get their money back and fish for this big money. No entry fee, team tournament event. This thing's crazy. And, some of my friends did make the comment, I hope the check's cash, like laughing, joking before they left to go down. And then there's a winner. Of course, you couldn't really see there was a winner because there was terrible coverage and things like that. Nobody really knew who won. And then we start hearing that they're like, oh, by the way, don't cash these checks till at least next week. And so I had said last week on the show, this is insane. Like, this is not feasible, right? And millionaires tend to not just like to hand out millions of dollars to not make it back in some kind of, a return on your investment, right? But my question is this: are we the problem as bass anglers, as tournament bass anglers? Are we the problem, Todd, because we're too damn gullible, potentially?
Well, okay. So look, I've had long talks, about that. I did a video on this about 5 months ago, and had quite a few people come after me.
I'm sure.
Were like,
yeah.
And I was like, hey, look, man, I'm not saying this isn't. This is when it was $5,000 entry fee. Because look, everyone kind of knows me and Russell as the guys who will fish every big team event.
The team dudes. Yeah, y'all are the team guys. Yeah, for sure.
So. And we've helped some organizations along the way when they've tried to do stuff, and like a lot of them have listened and stuff. And I'm like, hey, look, we're just going to let you know what tournament guys are afraid of. Like there's things that we don't like, right? We don't like things. We don't like change, right? So when you come out with something 3 months later, make sure it's still the same thing. So you come out with a schedule, stay with the schedule, like all these things. And then I like things on paper. I want to see, like, I don't want to like go to a random website and when I click on it, it's like, hey, sign up, give me $5,000. I'm like, hey, I want to like know about, I want to know about the rules. It's like, like I don't want to see an application to give me 5,000 before I read everything. I want to meet the guy who's doing it. Like, I want to see a guy's face. Like, there was a lot of these things that I was like, hey, man, there's no exposure. There's not exposure. Like, I don't care if they film it. I'm saying there's no like marketing behind it. It's just a random guy commenting back on my YouTube going, this guy's legit. You need to do your homework. And I'm like, dude, what do you think I've been doing? I can't find any. It's this make-believe thing. It went on. I will say this. I've had a lot of one conversation I had that it was an absolute. It looked fishy, to say the least.
Yeah, been told.
Another guy today said it was awesome and it was totally fine.
Yeah.
And here's the only thing I'll say about all this.
Did he get a check, though? Did that guy get a check?
That guy didn't get a check. I know about the checks not being whatever.
Yeah.
And this was before it was free. For $5,000, I couldn't imagine doing this, like signing up before it was free. That's just crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is this is like, I've tried to figure out like where it's going. Like, okay, so say it's not real. I can't figure out what the deal is.
What the scam?
And I'm like, you got to invest.
Yeah, what's the scam?
So here's my thing. You made a comment, and this is my thing. You said investment, and there's investors in this.
Yeah.
Don't you have to have a product to invest in something?
That's what I'm saying.
And that's what I can't figure out is like, it's a tournament, but there's no coverage. I'm lost at where it's all going. I'm not being mean. I just was like, man, and maybe it's the
people are like, you're hating. I'm like, no, it's just, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, most of the time it's a duck, and none of this makes sense. It's the same thing I said when Boyd Duckett got all the dudes to come from the Elites here and said, no entry fees, everybody. It's going to be great. And then the next year they were like,
right.
JK, entry fees. And he had Johnny Morris backing it. He had Stan Kroenke, his company, one of the wealthiest men in the world. Okay. The man owns like millions of acres in the United States and sports teams and blah, blah, blah. And they couldn't do it. So I will always say that wealthy individuals and I've been fortunate to know a couple in my life, and talk to them about their journey and different things. They normally don't get wealthier by just setting their money on fire. You know what I mean? There's got to be a return on investment, I think.
On some, yeah. And I want to know, like, listen, if this is the deal and it goes through all year long, it's the best thing that's ever been in fishing ever. I'll give it that. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just, but like, once again, for free. At $5,000, I'd be scared to death if I had to pay $5,000. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
And I'm just not. That was my thing. If they're like, if they come back and go, well, Todd, look, you were wrong. I'm like, no, I wasn't wrong at anything I said. I said I was nervous about all these things that I couldn't figure out who the guy was, the website. They're changing the dates, they're changing the lakes, they're doing all this stuff. If it's legit, and they're like, well, look, they just did it without entry fees. I'm like, yeah, but that wasn't the case 5 months ago when everyone asked me. That just happened a couple of weeks ago.
Which was weird. Which was weird. I thought.
Which was weird.
I don't know.
It actually the two people I talked to about this, one had already signed up and backed out. The other guy was like, when it went to free, I'm sure, and so one of them is like a really, really smart guy. He was like, that scares me more that they went to free. He said, I'm more afraid of it now. And both of them actually said it. I will say this too, is that like, and this isn't a knock on anything, but like from what I heard, how the tournament was run, and that we've helped some guys do these in the past. When you make any big tournament, so you'll go along with me on this. Even on small tournaments, but the bigger you go, there are certain things you have to set up for, like deposits and all these different things to have them. And we had one of our trails go downhill because I'm like, hey, you have to have a waiting list. You got to get deposits. You have to do things in order. And I explained all this. There's a group of us that explained all this to them, and they messed up on one little thing, right? They had all these people wanting to sign up, and they're like, oh, we got the waiting list, but they didn't take the deposit, and it made the whole trail, like one little mistake, it just backfired, right? Like 2-3 guys didn't show up for the first event. I said, well, just get the guys on the waiting list. They're like, well, they don't want to come. I'm like, man, they're just going to give up their deposit like that? They're like, well, man, we didn't take it. I'm like, so you ruined it, right? The amount of stuff a tournament organization and tournament director has to know, and has to be like a seasoned tournament director for all the BS that's going to go on in today's game. And I'm like, man, even if this is free, look, I'm telling you this right now, and I think you'll believe, even if this is free and all the checks clear, what's going to happen, you mark my word, someone's going to lose out on some money.
No doubt.
Over something BS.
Yep.
And you're like, it might be first place and he comes in second, and the guy in first place shouldn't, like, he did something. I'm not saying he cheated. I'm saying there's too much stuff that happens in tournaments.
I agree.
Something's going to go on. Someone's going to get upset. He's going to lose 50 grand, 60 grand because they went from first to second. Or the guy in 25th place or 26th place got beat by somebody else that did something wrong, and he lost out on 7 grand. And then it's going to unravel. And I'm just afraid if it was me and you had all this money, because I would have hired a tournament director. I would have hired some people to help along the way to do this, because I just don't think you can make it a club event, because it feels like a club event, which is cool, right?
Yeah.
Until the money, like, right, there's one mess up on this, because it's such high money that it's like, wait a minute, I got screwed out of 7,000 here because this guy fished and stuff. That's what I'm more afraid of, and I'm like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be. That's what I'd be scared of, even if all the checks clear.
And my thing is, if there is this crazy amount of money, I've heard this guy's telling everybody he's going to make it back through social media because it's going to be huge. They haven't made a post yet, but that, and then he's telling people he's got Netflix lurking around. Hey man, Netflix, they love bass fishing. But for me, it's like you've got months to be ready. And look, working for 2 tournament organizations, I can tell you this. I've been critical on this show, just like you're critical on your shows of tournament organizations. Yep. I can tell you from working for 2 of them, tournaments are very difficult to run and pull off, especially at a professional level. And listen, man, I see like the best of the best. Okay. I'm talking about, like, I see some tournaments. Yeah, you and I fished a lot of tournaments, a lot of different trails. And dude, I've seen a lot over the years, and it just takes so much more work than anybody ever realizes that decides to start a tournament trail. And I'll say that for the guys at MPFL. They didn't know that about, they're very hard workers, but they still, when you start something, and I'd say Miss Kay Donaldson, who's been in the chat here tonight, would tell you that when she started ABT, there were things they had no clue about, and it's going to happen, right? But I still think
it's not their fault, Luke.
No, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. But I'm like, if you are trying to build this thing and you've tried to pump it up by getting the Scott Martins and the Alex Perricks, and you know what I mean? Like, they were begging Ben Milliken to fish. Milliken's like, no, something doesn't smell right with it. I know several others they reached out to were just like, just something doesn't feel right about this. And a lot of people they didn't start reaching out to until like 2 weeks ago, right? Which kind of made it a little weird too, right? And a lot of guys were getting reached out to. And but I'm just thinking, you've got all these precedents set by Bassmaster, MLF, NPFL, ABTs, Texas Team Trails, Bass Champs. Like, you need a tournament director, right? This fella apparently didn't even know he needed weigh-in bags for a weigh-in. Had to have somebody else calibrate the scales. Like, that's just, I don't know if that's ignorance or what, but man, but the check thing, to not just explain that at the meeting, and maybe you just didn't know. People are trying to say, oh, it's a W-9 thing. Why in the hell wouldn't you collect W-9s before it ever started? Wow, there's a cash and checks. I don't know.
There's a bunch. Like, I don't think I'm with you, Luke. Like we've seen. I've probably fished 500 tournaments in my life.
No doubt.
We've seen the best organizations in the world screw things up so bad, right?
No,
I mean, I don't want to go down that road, Luke.
And we'll down that road, probably, and we'll again. To be fair.
Yeah, and they will again, because it's hard. It's hard to please that many people. All these different things.
Amen.
And that's all I'm saying is that it all sounds great, and I'm not saying it's not. And if whoever just won $100,000, I don't care if you just got a check in this event. Awesome. Like, I'm jealous that I wasn't there at this event. However, I just see some things that, man, if you don't know, and we can't sit there and pinpoint what those things are. We just know because there's hundreds of them, and it only takes one or two of them to pop in, and then it's going to be, it turns into a nightmare. And that's just what like, if you're down there, right, say me and you show up to the next one, right?
Yeah.
And we get down there and that something happens. And then it's like, we got 25th place or 26th place, and we know whatever happened, and we're sitting there going,
no wake zone. Yeah, somebody ran a no wake zone.
Yeah.
Somebody snagged a bed.
He's like, oh, man, I don't even know about that. Don't worry about it. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. No. That's a $7,000 mistake there.
Right.
And then it's just like, yeah, that's why I'm not doing this. And me and you would probably be like, pack up our stuff and be like, we'll never fish another one. And that's what I'm afraid of. If this is, everything is legit, which maybe it is. And that's fine if it is. It's just like, do I really want to drive 20 something hours to Okeechobee to find out if it's legit?
That's the tricky part, right? And then fish immediately back to back. And they were told their checks would be in by, I believe, the first day of practice at St. John's, which was today. And from talking to some anglers, the checks haven't gone in yet. I've talked to 2 or 3 this afternoon. So one in particular that told them this weekend, hell, I'm going to go ahead and cash mine. And he was told that he could be disqualified for that because the investor would be upset if he tried to cash his check.
Yeah. Okay. So we might know the same person.
We do know the same person in that regard.
Okay.
Hang on. I got an there's an old boy with a troll account that keeps saying all this stuff. It's probably the Get Your Fish On guy. I'm sure with one of his troll accounts. But next week, Dual Thread is on and sponsoring the show. And Luke says it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I understand because I work for MPFL, people say things like that. I've sat on this show with every mistake MPFL's ever made and absolutely looked at this camera and talked about every single one of them and given my opinion on it. And they signed me a paycheck, big dog. So like, and Miss K will tell you like, something happens in ABT, I'll talk about it too. I am not shy, man. Like if there's one thing I know about myself, I'll tell you what I think regardless.
Yeah,
and that's what I told MPFL when I started. I'm like, it's not fair for you to hire the guy that's opinionated in bass fishing, right? And me not still be opinionated. Like that's not fair.
And I've had organization, like what's funny is like I'll still get calls from MLF, Bassmaster, Bass Chain, like tournament directors call me. They also know though, for all those years though, and I made a video about this the other day that I was like, hey, look, I want every tournament to succeed.
%.
I am not. There's guys out there that complain, like they get on message boards and they do all this stuff, and then you look up at the tournament and they're like, "Where is that guy?" They know I show up to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna show up for the most part if it's done somewhat right, and I'm like, "Hey, man, I just want things to be done right." So like anything I can do to help, it is never. I think that by now they realize that it's not for me. Like I could care less. Like where we go, I just like good tournaments pay. And I just want to be a part of good tournaments that pay. That's it.
Your whole gig from the day I met you has been, I want to fish as many tournaments as I can that pay out good, and I want to win me some cash. And you have done that in team tournaments. You've done that. And you were a guy, first of all, not to kiss Todd Castledine's butt right here in front of everybody. Todd Castledine is one of the best fishermen I've ever been around. I think a lot of fishermen in this country that have fished against Todd, with Todd, some of the biggest names in the sport will tell you that about Todd Castledine. Todd got the opportunity to fish the FLW Tour. He wasn't even going to fish nationally ever, right? I mean, to be fair, it was a regional thing, but it was a financial decision for you always. And then you got an opportunity through a sponsor to fish FLW. You did it until the sponsor deal ended, and then you're like, "Hey, this doesn't make sense anymore." And the BPT MLF buyout, the same. We left at the same time, but that's always been your deal, man. Is it's got a math for you, and you've done very well making fishing math for you at a regional level. You put your ego aside. You could go fish the Elite Series. You could qualify. You could go do these things. But you've always, if the math doesn't math to you, man, I've always respected that about you.
Well, I appreciate it. And like I said, I mean, there's, those 2 years that I fished when it was FLW, dude, I had a blast. Like it was cool. It was so much more. My second year was even more fun. Like I was hanging out with y'all more. I got to because me and you, there was a couple of us that had to work the what do you call it, the expo, whatever it was. And we were both on Costa, and so we got to go to Daytona. I mean, we just got to do a lot of
that time frame of life was awesome. Yeah,
it was really cool, and so I enjoyed it all, and it just, I liked it. I had fun. I really fought hard to try to fish the next year. I was really disappointed. And I wasn't mad at my sponsor. I mean, I was a little upset that they weren't getting away from me. They were getting away from FLW,
right?
Because of it,
right?
And then I got caught in the crosshairs.
Yes, it wasn't you losing a sponsorship.
Yeah. And so like you said, I mean, I enjoyed it and stuff, and I didn't want to stop, and I instantly went and tried to go. Well, I'm going to go fish the opens and make the elites, and it was like it's funny too, because this is how I know that I wasn't supposed to like fish the elites, because even though I've qualified before, and even like this the one time we did it, like now they make the top 10, right? They take the top 10 overall. Well, that year I made the top 10, right? But they had a different qualification where it was like 3, 3, and 3. And so I'm sitting here going, well, I qualified for it this weird way, but it was because I complained at him. I said, hey, dude, it's probably better to take the guys who made the top 10 than this other way. And they're like, well, that's not the way we decided. I'm like, all right, well, that doesn't make any sense. And then a year or two later, they changed it, and they've stayed with it ever since. And I'm like, but I haven't tried to do it again, because once again, I know all those guys that fish it, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm also looking at it I don't know. Me and you haven't talked about this in a while, but I still, you talk to more of them than I do. They will disagree with you publicly, probably, but privately, I don't think they have as much fun as me. I don't think they enjoy. Maybe the young guys do because they haven't been around, you know.
I was going to say some of the young ones for sure do, but a lot of the veteran guys definitely are not having fun.
Are not having as much fun, and they're like, "What did you do today?" I'm like, "Dude, we went and fished for $400, won like 12 grand. I'm back at my house a day later." I was like, "It's pretty awesome." And they're like, "What are you doing now?" I'm like, "Oh, I'll do my Strike King stuff and YouTube stuff, and like got a tournament next weekend." I'm like, "It's like an hour and a half away. We got to drive a little ways, you know."
We got to drive 4 hours to Amistad.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I don't know, man. And then it's like, so what's your schedule look like? I'm like, I don't know, whatever I make it. Like me and Russell just sit down and we make our, like, we're like, hey, do we want to go fish this horrible lake, or do we want to go like come over here and go sight fish where we know we're going to catch over 20 pounds? Yeah, let's pick that tournament instead. I'm just, yeah, it's pretty fun. So I look at the, I don't know, it's pretty. I look at all this stuff differently, and not everyone looks at it that way. But whatever, man. I'm getting older too. That I don't. There's no way I'd want to go like. I don't think I'd want to go fish the elites.
Did Brittany just laugh?
I think she might have popped off in there.
You said you're getting older.
Yeah, probably because I said it. Yeah, yeah.
We're both getting older. But how old are you? Oh, how old are you right now, Castledine? How old are you?
46.
You're 46.
Yeah.
Damn, I look terrible. I'm 42. But I'm not riding around in the boat eating raw chicken, lifting weights like you. Brittany's got you on that workout program all the time.
No, she don't even, man. No, she don't even do. I don't know what she does now. I got my own little workout thing now going on. It's stupid. I'm not even going to talk about it.
Have you ever thought about bringing that to your YouTube channel? Your workout?
I thought so. Like, I did. I'm looking back because I'm waiting for it. I did once or twice, but I don't know how to do it. I don't want to because I'm like, people, they'll rip me. Yeah, they'll rip me a lot. I got something I got on now that I'm doing like every day that that I've pretty much just stayed with me. I've missed a couple days over the last 7 months, but yeah, it's pretty. I'm trying to get to a point to where I'll tell you the number afterwards. But I'm every day I add one. So I'm just telling you, I got to work out that every day I add one, and I'm up to a lot of days. And so everyone's like, "How long are you going to last?" I'm like, until the number gets so ridiculous that like I can't believe I'm doing this every day. That's all I'm saying.
See, I do that, but like with Oreos. I just I set a new record every night.
Dude, I'll eat some more. Like, that's the thing, man. I eat. I mean, I just like I'll eat some stuff. I'll eat ice cream every day. I mean, I don't mind. I'm not like this crazy. I just dude, nowadays eating healthy is just not trying to get stuff like, it's like, how much can I eat fish and deer and things like that and not have to like buy it?
Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, I'm big. This during the snow in here, I've been just absolutely going through the venison, going through the deer meat, man. I love it, man. Absolutely love it. I'm like, oh, the grocery store. In fact, yeah, sign me up. Good. Yeah. I got us.
Deer chili. Yeah, we had deer chili heating up, and then I got out there the other day. Look, this is half the stuff I do, right? Because they're like, half the stuff on YouTube, I want to put all the like crappie stuff I do on there.
Yeah.
Because like if I'm bass fishing, I start seeing crappie on the screen. If I'm like if I'm live scoping around or whatever, I go straight crappie fishing. The other day, I got on so many giant white bass, it was ridiculous. And after about the 50th one, I'm like, I better start keeping some of these. And so I kept like 18 of them and freaking just giant ones. And you know, we've been eating fish tacos for the last 2 days.
I'll say they eat pretty good. They definitely eat pretty good, without a doubt, man. All right, I gotta ask you, or go back to this real quick in regards to all this going on about anglers and are we the problem? So I this buddy will remain nameless, but I got a text, and you definitely know this fellow well. But I get a text on Saturday, and he had seen my video announcing my new triple threat series. Links in the bio. Y'all can sign up. Todd's Boat #1, free entry fee, $9 million payout potentially. My wife's a tournament director. I'm thinking about getting.
Where's the lake?
Don't know yet. We're going to draw it out of a hat.
Okay.
We're going to
I like that.
Before, and the first one could be Lake Mead, or it could be Buffalo, New York, Lake Erie.
It's gonna be the first one's gonna be in February. It's gonna be a freaking somewhere up New York.
Champlain in February. Yeah. Bring your ice auger, for sure. Bring your auger. But when I made this post, he texted me and said, "Hey, you must be hearing about all this drama coming out of Florida." And he said, I blamed Boyd Duckett for ruining bass fishing for a long time, but now I think it's just all of us. We're just to blame because we're so gullible.
Well, who's gullible? Listen,
not all. I'm doing a broad sweep there, but I'm just saying as professional anglers, and I'm not a professional angler.
Okay, good. Okay,
but I'm saying as tournament anglers, they're always looking. Have always been looking for the next best thing. If Boyd Duckett does not wave the carrot of free entry fees and the streets are paved with gold, he has a very hard time getting the top of the top of the top of the top to leave the Bassmaster Elite Series, which most of them ended up trying to go back to the Bassmaster Elite Series once the streets weren't paved with gold, right? I just think we're always, for our whole lives in tournament fishing, it needs to be like golf. No entry fees, huge payouts. Oh my gosh, once you get to the top, that's all anybody's ever said. That's all anybody's ever said.
So I don't know. Maybe, okay, look at the news, right? I'm not going to get too crazy into this, but you watch the news and you're like, and I sit back, watch the news and laugh, right? I just laugh at it because I'm like, this isn't real, right? I remember, I don't want to get you in trouble. This has been long ago. I don't think we'll get in trouble anymore. But when those meetings were going on, and I was like looking around like, am I the only one? Because I was like, and then we'd get done with the meeting, and guys are like looking at me like, hey, and I'm like, hey, what? Like, you think that's good?
You talking about our FLW meetings?
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
yes,
our angler group, our angler panel.
I was just like, I thought everyone was like me, like, this is, you can see right through this, right? And I look over there and they're like thumbs up at me. And I'm like, is he joking with me? And then we got done. And it's like, I can't be a part of this. I'm like, why not? I'm like, are you serious? They're like, dude, they're going to take care of us. I'm like, what? And I remember going away and I'm like, I felt like Tom Cruise in what is that show? You remember when he was with
Jerry Maguire?
With Cuba Gooding Jr. in the football movie. Yeah, Jerry Maguire. Yeah, he's like, who's coming with me? I felt like I was walking out and I'm like, no one's going with me. All right. I mean, you did. There was about 5 or 6 of us. And it wasn't that I could have made a lot of money on the BBT 6 years down the road. But at the time, I'm sitting here going, no, man, I don't think y'all are just going to get in next year. Like, we're going to be over here in like this weird non-professional tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, and then like 2 years went by and like, we're going to hold off another year. And I'm like, yeah, y'all still there. Hey, and look, you know how many of them left?
None.
They just stayed there. And then some of them would get there and a year later leave. And I'm like, guys, like, and I tell everyone, Luke, and I think you're the same. I love what happened. It was the best thing for my career ever. Because it there's a couple of things I remember about Luke is that second year, there's some like the memories of the FLW tour, like the one that was at the house when Brad Knight like freaking like, ran me over. But and but like yeah. So but we were sitting there and they had this camera. I mean, they made us get these cameras on year 2, I'll just never forget that. And I'm like,
the GoPros.
This is the worst thing. Like, I was so mad I had to go buy this camera and do all this stuff. And then And then on the water, about 3 or 4 tournaments in, I remember Brad Knight pulled up and he was talking and Brad's like, this thing. I'm like, hey man, just okay, get your SD card, go to format, and I said all this stuff. And I remember Luke going, I would never, like, Todd didn't know how to turn that thing on 3 months ago.
Hey,
He's over here telling me,
I showed you how to format an SD card.
100%. 100%, but that's my point. I remember all that stuff, and he goes, and here's Todd 3 months later explaining it without looking at it to Brad Knight on the wall.
Yeah, showing Brad Knight at takeoff how to fix a GoPro. Castledine.
Yeah, and so like it was like the perfect storm of that happening, and then us leaving, and then fishing the opens, and me and Hallman and stuff, and then like having to do like this YouTube thing was the dumbest like. I tell everyone, they're like, how'd you start on YouTube? I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing. I had to go buy this stupid computer. I had to go buy an iPhone. I didn't know what I was doing. Brittany was like, I was like, hey, Brittany, I can't store anything on my computer. She was like, yeah, you need a hard drive. Dude, 40 years old. What is that? She's like, Todd, you got to go get a hard drive. I'm like, can you buy me one? So like did all that stuff, filled up the hard drive in like 3 weeks. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? She's like, get another one. I'm like, I can't be going around with all these hard drives. I look at it now, I got like 20 of them. But I'm like, well, what if I just put these videos on YouTube to store? So I was using YouTube as a storage unit for my videos that I had no idea. I just uploaded them and put them there. No titles, no nothing. Just to store them. And then all of a sudden, like, they started gaining traction. And I'm like, hey, you know.
Wait a second.
That's how... Like no plan whatsoever.
Listen, I think about those days a lot, but for those you low lifers watching this and listening to Todd talk about that angler panel, Todd, I've got to bring this up. So FLW handpicked us. There were like 10, 12 of us, but on that angler panel, if you remember, think about this. I think about this a lot because I get cracked up thinking about this, but on said angler panel, me, you, Brad Knight, Wesley Strader, Scott Canterbury, Brian Thrift, Dudley, the Disruptor, Dudley, Scott Martin. Did I say Scott Martin already? I can't remember if I said Scott Martin. Scott Martin.
Yeah. Andrew.
Upshaw. Yep. Upshaw was there. And drum roll.
Jordan.
Was Jordan? Yes. Jordan was there. And drum roll, Randy Blockett. Randy Blockett was on the angler panel for FLW. And I think about all of us now and what we all do. But Randy would sit in those meetings and never say anything. Ever.
You're cutting up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where it went wrong. Well, I know where it went wrong. I don't know about any of it, man. I just don't know.
Did you hear me
say that? You've been cutting out in and out.
Randy Blockett was on that.
I don't know if it's me or you.
It could be both of us. We're both in ice-soaked areas right now. No, I said Randy Blockett was on that angler panel with us at FLW. That still blows my mind to think about, and he never would say anything. And now Blockett's the most opinionated dude ever.
So they I don't know if you know this. So they made another one this past. Do you know about this last one they had past year?
I don't think so.
Oh, so I got a call. From one of the guys that's doing all this stuff, and he's like, "Hey man, are you thinking about fishing next year?" I'm like, "Fishing what?" Like, no. He's like, "Okay, well, look, man, we got a meeting. We got all the anglers involved." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I've been down this road like 4 or 5 years ago." And I listened to them all, and I was like, I'll never get another phone call from them again after this. And I wasn't mean, but I was just like, he goes, we're doing all this stuff, and he was explaining it all. And I go, hey man, and I'll get to the second part of this. So he's explaining it all, and he's like, I think we got like $2,000 more, like on these places in the checks. And I'm like, yeah, man, I don't think you see it the same way I do. And he was like, well, look at all these things we're doing. I'm like, yeah, that's not why I'm fishing. Like, $2,000 more in a check in like 23rd place doesn't do it for me. Like y'all are scratching it and like trying to pick up crumbs, and I'm looking at this big picture and like they know as long as y'all are over here just picking up little crumbs, y'all are gonna stick around. Y'all are. I'm not saying gullible, but like it's a great deal for you. And part of the reason was, and I made sure I never did this, Luke. So I don't know. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Okay. Before I fished the tour, there was a guy who was fishing the tour, and they were with there was about 3 of them, and they had this team deal. And this guy I fished team tournaments with, and he was fishing it. And after the first year, I was talking to him. He was like, "Dude, this is the best thing ever. This is awesome." But all this stuff, and I'm like, he's like, "You got to do it," and I'm like, "No." Like, I'm not spending the money to go do all this. And he was like, no. But Todd, like, I said, why are you doing? He goes, and his comment was to me, this is the best. Because then I've had fishermen say stupid stuff like this to me. He's like, I want to fish against the best. Todd, the competition is there. And I'm like, no, I want to fish against the worst. Let me go. I want to go fish against the guys that don't know how to catch them, and I can go win all the money. But like, and I'm like, but by the way, you're out there fishing on a team deal where you're driving around, no entry fees, none of this, and trying to get someone like me to go pay all my expenses and everything to come fish against you that has 0 in it. I got a team deal for 2 years. I'd make no bones about it. I never asked any of the guys I know, like, you should come do this. I'm like, no, like, it's a good deal for me. And so this guy was telling me all this stuff on the phone, and I wanted to be like, he's like, dude, I made a lot of money last year. I'm like, I'm sure you did. And everything's paid for. And I don't know if you even have a house to go home to. Like, I don't, like, I have way different priorities than you. And if everything was paid for, I might go fish the tour, but it's not. And I just, but like, yeah, if I have one more guy tell me he likes fishing against competition or he loves it fishing more than me and that's why he does it, and I look at and it's always these guys that are like, have everything paid for and travel around with no responsibilities. And they want to tell me how much they love. That's like kind of these young guys. Like, if I hear one more time talk about these young guys, that, and some of them, certain ones, they're like, man, they're putting in all the work. And I'm like, hey, dude, for one, don't call it work. Don't call it work. I remember when I was 20 something years old and I was working 30 hours a week. What's up?
I said, I'm guilty. I've said that. They spend a lot of time on the freaking water.
No. Yeah, well, right. So I was like, yeah, dude, I was working a bunch through college doing all this just to figure out how to get 60, because it cost me about 63 to like $70 to go fishing on Rayburn. Right? Like, that's what it would cost me every day. And I had to figure out how to make that up the day, like in tournaments and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, if I had a bunch of money like some of them did, and I was 23, not having to do what I was doing, I would fish 7 days a week. That's not hard. I'm sorry, but like, I just don't believe fishing is like, people call it work. I get it. But at 23 years old, dude, sign me up to go fish 365 days a year. That's all I wanted to do every day. I just didn't get to do it because of money. But I was like, no, it's not that hard. Look, if you have no really responsibilities like some of them, and you can just go around and you got $100,000 bass boat at 21 years old or whatever and doing all that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just like, and I'm not saying they're not out working people or whatever, or out fishing people, but it's like, yeah, I wanted to do that. Like, I think there's a lot of guys that would love to go do that. They just don't have the means to go do it.
I would agree that there are a lot of people that would trade their day jobs to get to go work at fishing, for sure. I would agree with that 1,000,000%. Hey, I'm jumping all around here, but something I had in my notes to talk to you about in this dual threat, this check cashing thing. You're talking about the younger guys. No, I wanted, this was a point that I thought about.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, dude, there was a lot of younger anglers in it, right? A bunch of them jumped all over it. I think that if it was a bunch of the veteran guys, Greg Hackney, Jason Christie, Gerald Swindle, yourself, that kind of crowd, and at the weigh-in, they go, hey, guys, here's the deal. don't cash them checks for about a week or so. It's all good. Dude, tar and feathered, pitchforks, torches. Like, I can't fathom what would have happened. This is no knock on the younger guys, but they're all just starting their careers. So they're making posts about how great it was, regardless of that. Now, there are some of them that have reached out to various people, obviously. But I'm just saying it would have been a different scene had it been a bunch of veteran guys that have fished a lot of tournaments over the years.
They've been screwed over. Look, listen, so many guys, I always tell everyone this. They're like, hey, how do you make it in fishing right now? I'm like, dude, I don't ever know. Like, I don't know how go have a bunch of money from someone and freaking just do it all the time. Like, that's not how. There was no playbook when we did it, when we started. Right. I couldn't ask anyone. I had no idea how people. I was sitting there like looking at how I was trying to figure out how to get my 10-year-old boat to make it to weigh-in. And, like, I kind of knew the guys around me, but there weren't a lot of young guys. I don't think it's not, I don't want to call it naive, but they just probably haven't been screwed over by some of these things. And so I'm sure the high school fishing and the college fishing and all that stuff, they don't really probably screw you over. Like,
no, it's all straight up.
They're good organizations.
Yeah.
Dude, we were like fishing against stuff. I mean, we've even had big organizations kind of screw you up. And when you're young, I think sometimes you're just like, that's cool, I'm here. But I don't know, man. I just I've never looked at it that way. I've always just looked at it like it has to make sense. And then I've always sought advice from people older than me or people that have been done. Dude, I mean, I asked quite a few people before the Elites, the tour. I mean, dude, I talked to everyone about fishing the tour. And I listened to some of them. And I remember the Elites. The only person that told me not to go fish the Elites was Hallman. Everyone else said do it. And I said, hey, I have like an older, but oh man, you'll be fine. And Hallman was like, dude, don't listen to that guy. That guy's never had to work before in his life. He's like, dude, you don't have the boat and the truck and the means to, like, you're going to get in trouble unless you catch him the first couple of events. He's like, dude, I don't suggest that. And he was 100% right. And everyone's like, I always laugh about, what is it? Big bass, big stage, big bass, big dreams, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Big day.
And I'm like, yeah. And ask the 10 guys that got cut this year. And the 10 guys that cut last year and the 10 guys that got cut, I'm like, and you rarely hear from those guys ever again. Like, they slip off, and I'm not being ugly. I'm just saying, like, when you can fall off this fishing industry and never be heard of again. And I was like, well, I don't want that. I enjoy I want to fit. My whole goal, Luke, was always the same thing. They're like, what did you want to do? I'm like, fish professionally. I don't know. That wasn't a dream of mine. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I watched those guys, but then I was like, I just wanted to fish every day for a living without really guiding. I didn't want to guide. Like, I guided a little bit, and I'm like, that's different. I wanted to fish like tournaments. I still do that.
So the path worked out, right? That's the same as me.
The path worked out.
Yeah, same as me. Like, I never thought the path would. Now, I wanted to win a classic, go to the classic, like all those things as a young man when I first started tournament fishing. But then as you get into it, there's lots of ways to be in this industry, and I'm grateful that I've been able to do that through whether it's selling boat parts, and I get to be in all these bass boat companies all the time for so many years. And then that kind of led me back to the FLW tour, where I met so many of my dear friends to this day. And then that started this podcast that got, to the NPFL.
Luke,
dude, I can't complain.
Luke. So do you remember this? So like 6 years ago, me and you we never would have said, hey, like we knew some things were going to happen. This wasn't one of them, right? Me and you talking like this right here.
Yes.
But I'd say 5 years. I don't know how long ago it was, but I remember we were fishing the Forest Wood Cup. Y'all are in a hotel room. I guess I was in the same hotel room.
Yeah.
I get done with the Forest Wood Cup after day one or something, and I'm in a hotel room with you. I think Darian.
It was Darian.
Someone else.
Probably Corey. You'd see. Yeah.
Corey. Okay. Yeah. And we're up there, and it's like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and we're doing this, whatever you wanted to call it back then.
It's a podcast.
And it was a podcast. And I was like, this is fun. And Luke's like, dude, You do realize you're like, you got another day of fishing the Forest Wood Cup and you're up here just talking to us. I'm like, yeah, I don't understand. I don't see the problem here. And we had a blast, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I enjoyed that stuff. I don't think we really realized where it was going to go.
No, I had
but that's the point, though. We kind of stayed flexible with all this stuff, and kind of like I now know I've never had a plan. I don't necessarily know the plan now, but I'm not worried because I'm going to maneuver through it all. And like, it brings me back to when I left FLW and went to Bassmaster. It showed me that I had, not by accident, that I started creating this own platform for myself totally by accident. But I was like, oh, this is so much better than having to like rely on like Bass or FLW, like just, you know, to do all this stuff. Once that happens, once you do that freedom, Luke, you know, that freedom. Oh my gosh.
You and I talked about it, man. You would fight for, you know, these magazine articles and, oh, cool, they're having me on the FLW podcast and they're sending me to talk to a radio station and you're doing this and you're doing that. And you're like, man, and they tell you, oh, we got live and we're going to do this, that, and the other. But when you create your own platform, in a sense, it was a freeing thing. And you figured that out. Upshaw, obviously, Brian Latimer was a dude that certainly figured that out. Scott Martin already had it going on, but then just approved on it. When he left, Hallman was a guy that created his own. But Zona Spirit Animal says, was that the one in the hotel lobby? So at that same cup, I think it was the same cup. It might have been the year before, actually. There was one at the Embassy Suites in Hot Springs. That was with Watson. Todd's was in our. We did it in the room. Me, Darian, Corey, and Todd. But that was like 2018, 2017, 2018.
Oh,
no, it started in 20.
Oh, was it that long? Yeah.
Yeah, probably was. I don't know. It might have been 19 actually. 18, 19. I don't remember.
Might have been
it was the last Forest Wood Cup ever, I think, that Brian Thrift won. The one in the Embassy Suites in Hot Springs was Watson and my buddy Spank, my old buddy Spank from used to be at Ranger Boats. Now he sells boat parts. Scott Arms, shout out Spanky D, and Big Spank was on there with us. So yeah, man, Watson was there. We had a ball. I remember doing one, me, you, and Russell. At the house at Rayburn, at y'all's house at Rayburn before that first tournament.
With Joey?
And Zavala.
Was Joey there?
Joey
there? The monkey?
The Joey was there, yes.
Yeah. Joey's still there.
Joey.
Dude, I remember on that first one, you're like, we got 211,000 people watching. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
307,000 a night. Dude, people, I don't do lives enough anymore. And it's always funny when people don't get that joke and they're like, dude, there's 67 people in here. And I'm like, 67,000 on Low Budget Live. Arian's the one that started that. Sweet Tea Boy.
Really?
He definitely started. He just one day on Instagram was like 230,000 on Low Budget Live. And I'm like, what's he talking about? And it just
Luke, so like there's things that Luke so I'll brag about you about some stuff too. One, I tell the Chickamauga story all the time, by the way. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, like I tell that story all the time. But just because that whole day, like you know what I'm saying? When you were out there and I'm going down the bank and
I'm like,
and then I catch him and then you come back
and then you're like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I go out there and make 3 casts and I'm like, I don't like this. I can't do this, and I leave. But there's some things that you've done. One of the things that has really stuck with me. We were doing something and these numbers sometimes with like YouTube and stuff and all this, like you get caught up in numbers, right? And podcasts and all this stuff. And we were sitting around one day, and I tell this to people all the time. And it's all from you. You were like, hey man, 400 and something people watch this thing. And it could be like 400 views or 400 whatever, like seems not good, right? And you're like, dude, could you imagine walking, like, do you know how big of a venue you have to go get to get 400 people in there? And if you had to go speak in front of those 400 people, that's a massive venue. Like, that's a big deal. Like, if you had to put on a seminar or something of 400 people in there, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. He's like, you got like 2,000 views now. And I was, and so it started putting that in perspective of going back in the day, seminars and all those things with 100 to 200 people was like, you sold it out.
That was a lot.
And now it's like, well, I get that. Like I get 200 views in 30 minutes. And so, but at the time I was going, oh, you got a good point there. And it totally changed my viewpoint on like the numbers and like what really matters and all that. And like really doing stuff the right way to where it's like stuff going viral isn't always that good. Like it's a bunch of BS views, but like doing the right stuff. I always remembered you saying that. And I'm like, okay, keep it in perspective. Don't worry about the views and the fact that like the right 400 people watching this is a big deal.
And they're there for you. Like, I think that's, for me, it's, you got to be happy with what you're putting out, right? Like if you're making content, if you're doing these things, if you're not happy with what you're doing at the end of the day, like you said, if you're chasing views, and there are guys that absolutely sell their souls trying to get people to watch, and I just don't want to do that, right? Like, I mean, I don't want to clickbait. I don't want to do all the things. And when I said that, it was from my music playing days. Like a 500 person room when you're playing in a band and you're starting out is a big room. 500 people watching you is a big deal. 1,000 person rooms, 1,000 people. It's a bigger, the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville holds like 2,000, right? It's one of the like marquee places that people want to play in this country. And when I look at it, I'm like, dude, 22,000 people now subscribe to this channel. Dude, that wouldn't fit in the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville if you put them all in it. Like that is and for me, I was like, dang, 1,000 people just watch this. I did. I remember that conversation. I've told other people that over the years, like, look, man, would you stand in front of 1,000 people and be able to deliver your message without being nervous? Well, like, that's a lot of eyes and ears, man. It's a lot.
You're right. I know. So I don't know. I think about all that stuff because like I just remember you saying like, you know, a lot of this stuff has changed my viewpoint on all this. And I think sometimes me and your views on this industry rubs people the wrong way, or certain people, because I don't think that they I don't think that they encompass all of it sometimes. Like I think me and you've been on, I guess me now with Strike King, but when you're in the industry fishing, you're in the sales department over here, you're doing podcast over here, you're doing the media, like we see the entire thing. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's probably easy for you. I think it's kind of easy for me to like, when we think about it, it's not just, hey, let's just go down to Okeechobee and go fish for $100,000, right? We look at the whole big picture going, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, let me think about all this for a second.
Yeah. Like I've always, I've said on the show many times, like people disagree with me, that's fine. And I'm not patting myself on my back and saying that I'm more qualified to talk about anything than anybody else. But I do look at this little world of ours, this bass fishing world, from so many different angles, because I wear so many different hats and have for a very long time, man. I've been very blessed to be able to do that. Todd, we got a question here for you. Have you ever had your image up at a Strike King display at Academy or Bass Pro? Your mug at an Academy or Bass Pro? I feel like you have.
Bass, they had not my image, I don't believe. I know that they had when I did a bunch of pro team journals. I've done some with Hackney and Phil and some stuff. They had that on the TV, like the big screen TV, like underneath popping perches and stuff like that. The only thing I'll say is this: once again, I shouldn't even be here right now fishing, right? I mean, from where I came from, walking the banks, you know. So, and then I went for so long without any sponsors for like 10 years, when I was like probably the best 10 years of my fishing career without like a really ever having a sponsor. When I finally got with Strike King, and Phil let me just start designing the pop and perch and doing all that stuff. When we were designing it, I wasn't even really a part of Strike King. Like, I didn't even know what I was. Like, Phil didn't even really. He's like, "We're gonna let you do this," and I'm like, "I don't even really know what that means," but okay.
Sounds cool.
As we're doing it, do what?
I said, "Sounds cool." I said
that you cut out a little bit on me.
I said it sounded cool when Phil said that to you. You're like, "I'm not a part of Strike King, but it sounds cool." You're
I
East,
can, I still
you're
get like
East
you've been
Texas
cutting out worse and worse.
Your East Texas Wi-Fi, Tad. Can you hear me? Continue. Sorry to interrupt. The low-lifers are going to say he always
I don't
interrupts.
know if it's just me. It's just
probably
gotten
you.
worse and worse as this has gone along.
No kidding. It could be. It
Okay,
could be
I
my
can.
internet in the ice.
Yeah. I was just wondering if everyone else can hear it because I can. Like now, I can barely. It sounds like the Charlie Brown stuff.
No kidding. I can hear you
But
playing. I can hear you playing his day. I can hear you fine. See you fine. Everybody in the comments says they hear us both great. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if that helps. Anyways, so I can't understand anything. But what I'll say is this. I'll say this, Luke. So when we were doing it, and they had to like put a name to it, or do something with it, like Pop and Perch, and they were gonna I think they were gonna put like Hackney's whatever on it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And he comes back and he was like, hey, we're he was talking to Walmart and all this stuff, and they're like, hey, we're gonna put KVD on it, and I was like, all right, but why? He goes, well, after talking to Walmart, they're like, hey, we'll put 3 colors in at Walmart instead of 1 if you put KVD on it. I'm like, all right, sign me up, because and so I was pretty quick to check my ego at the door of just going, I don't really care about that stuff. Like, I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I should have and fought harder for it, but I didn't think of it that way and still don't. I just don't really care about that stuff as much anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what's funny is they can have someone's name on it, but in the end, it kind of came back to like everyone kind of knew I designed it, so it really didn't matter.
Well, yeah, it's a thing of pride. Like if you don't need your face and name on it to know you designed a really awesome bait, and I think it's even cooler that you designed one that Kevin Van Dam got to slap his name on. When Van Dam gets to
Right.
Van Dam gets to say it's his bait, and you designed it. That's top notch. Are you working on anything new right now, Strike King?
So it's different now. I'm part of the entire like Strike King brand management. So I mean, we kind of just work on stuff. Some of this I kind of work on like everything, and then but like I think we got certain things I hold special. I hold closer to. So we got something right now that we got me and 2 other guys are working on real hard. That like usually if I like put my name on it, or like when I say put my name on it, like really this is something that I'm like, hey, this is something I need, and then I'm gonna go catch like a couple thousand fish on for the next couple of years. So like this is we got something cooking.
Is it like a new bait category, or is it a new take?
No, I've got
without telling us.
No, it's something where everyone's going to use that like is probably going to be a lot more efficient. I've got something. So the new bait category is tough. I'll just be honest with you. That's the toughest one for me to get because even with the the hybrid hunter was a bait that I already had for all them years, and then I had to multiple trips with Phil Marks before I could convince him of it. One really good trip that like it was all like he made the phone call instantly, like it was a done deal. The new bait category is a lot harder to like penetrate through. I've got an idea that I know no one has ever thought of, and I've had it for about 2 years, but it's very hard sometimes to convince people of it. But I have one. Doesn't mean it's not like I can hold on to it for a while. I don't think anyone's going to make it.
Do you regret?
But I'm working on it.
Do you regret making the hybrid hunter mainstream?
No, no, not at all.
I mean, because you were so sneaky
with that
thing. You were so sneaky with that.
I had it. Yeah, but so I had it for so like what I learned through all this is I learned it through YouTube and baits and all this stuff. Is even to this day, like, and I don't want to say who. I had a phone call last night from a guy who I probably hadn't talked to in 5 or 6 years, who who fishes professional, and he was calling me about that bait. And I've had a couple guys on the Elites, like, know me, like friends of mine, and they didn't throw it. And then one trip in the boat with me, and now they know, they get the deal.
Yeah.
I had, like I said, I had Phil Marksman with me the first time, and we smoked on him. Like, smoked on him in like September, when we shouldn't have caught, like, we shouldn't have caught a single fish on it. We caught like 20 pounds on it. And I was like, I got done at the boat ramp going, like, chest up, like, dude.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, and I swear he looked at me, he's like, I could have caught all those on a red eye. And I just put my head down, and I'm like, did he really just, what? And so it wasn't until the next January on Toledo Bend that I caught about 36 pounds in front of him and changed his mind. So, like, Bradley Hallman for years traveled with me, still wouldn't throw it. So, I mean, you see what I'm saying? So what I learned is that, like, people still don't do, like, you know this too, that, like, things get, like, overhyped to a degree, and they don't really, like, I mean, a chatterbait's a chatterbait. You get a chatterbait's the only thing that works. And so what I've learned is, even like with fishing and stuff, it didn't really take it away. Guys still had to figure out how to go throw it. You still had to go catch fish on it. You still had to know when. And it wasn't that crazy to me. And then I'm looking around and I'm going, man, there's 20 boats around me. I'm smashing them and no one's throwing one. And they know I'm doing it. They don't change.
You always just said, I'm going to catch them on it. You would just tell us.
And so next thing you know, and then now I had that rod that I designed, and it's sold out. It's sold out. Can't get any more. And I'm putting these videos up there, and no one, I just stopped worrying about it because I didn't see anything. And then I don't know if it's live scope too. I mean, heck, half the guys are live scoping now. So I just realized that fishing is going to change, and you might as well just get some of that stuff out there. And I'm like, if Kevin Van Dam showed everybody what he was doing for 20 years and still beat everyone in tournament fishing, I should be all right with one bait.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not comparing myself to Kevin, but what I'm saying is, like, Kevin showed everyone nationally what he was doing and still beat everyone on the same baits.
True.
And so I was like, yeah, this should be fine. And at times I thought I regret it. And then I'm like, it's fine. I like it now. It doesn't bother me a bit.
Well, I know in the beginning you were very close to death with it. And I can remember I had been smashing them on it. And right after Strike King came out with it, and you guys had released it, I finally got my hands on some because you would never give me the secret ones ever.
Yeah.
I think you gave Darian one time for letting you stay at his house at Gunnersville. Yeah. And I still hate Darian, the fact that he's got one of the original Todd Castledine.
He's got one of the
got one of the juicy ones. But I remember smashing them on this thing, and the Elites went to Harris Chain. And I'm texting Zona during live because he's like, yeah, it's Strike King Hybrid Hunter. Woo! I think it was Mullins. And I'm like, will you please shut up? Please stop saying that. Stop pointing it out. And he's like, little Bubba, that's already out. Like something like that. Like,
but it wasn't.
It wasn't out. I'm like, shut up, Mark.
Here's the funny part is that, like, so I've never I can say it now because you let it out of the bag. I've never said that to anyone ever. Publicly?
What?
Mullins.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So
my bad.
No, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is like, there's all these Strike King guys, right? They don't throw it. It's all these other guys that I'm friends with.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, so Mullins didn't throw it, came down after a classic or something, fished with me one day, and he was like, oh. Well, the next 2 years, he freaking dang near won Angler of the Year. Well, those were his first 2 years, and he was like, hey, I got this Florida thing figured out. And everyone's like, man, Moses catch him down there in Florida. Never said any word to anyone. I never said a word to anyone. And everyone's like, how come no one throws it? I'm like, well, there's people throwing it, but they're not Strike King guys. Yeah. And they're not going to tell a soul. And I'm not going to say anything about it. And so, I can't, I can't just like Zona. Zona was one of the first ones at a Strike King Writers Conference. I said, "Hey man, here's 2 of them." And Zona was one of the few guys that I knew if I gave it to him, he would throw it. And it took a couple months to go by, and he calls me up one day. He's like, "Dude," I'm like, "I know." And then he actually texted me a couple of days ago. Said he's I don't know if I'm supposed to. So I don't think it's a big deal. I think he's going to go film. So like that's yeah.
Yeah,
He's already filmed before with it.
Yeah, but I think he's in Florida for like a good bit of time. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
which,
it's not a big deal. I mean, I don't think that's. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't make people go throw it, and I could care less if they do. I know I'm supposed to sell them, but like whatever.
Yeah.
Like you text me one time. I'm not gonna say what lake, and you're like, "Dude, I just had a day," and I was like, "Yeah,
I've never had on that lake in my life."
yeah."
And
I want to talk about it because, like, I might have to go there this year. So
yeah, it's.
And I already know what happened. I already know. So
yeah, it's a good time. One last thing, dude. I've already kept you longer than I said I would, and I know you got chili to eat. And
my wife did. She goes, "How long?" I go, "I don't know. Let's say like 45 minutes." And she looked at me, and I'm like, "It's not a long time." She goes,
"I know you guys."
Yeah. It's you. No, I said it's Fluke's podcast. I can't
Thank you for that. It's not me. It's Todd. Yeah, I'm definitely not talking.
He likes the way he sounds.
Hey, it's his podcast. I don't control it.
It's me.
I love it. I do miss Britt. I haven't seen Britt forever. I haven't seen you guys in so long.
She's so mean.
She's mean to you. She's mean to you, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
And always will. No, one thing I wanted to ask you, get your take on, man, I feel like Rayburn is always it's Mecca, right? It's one of the bass fishing meccas, right? Tournament wise, but it seems like, and from an outsider, a Tennessee guy looking in, that the tournament numbers are off out there. Like BFL, Toyota Series. What's going on, and what do you think the reason for that is?
All right. Well, it's easy. This is going to sound so. Rayburn was one of the last. So there were some live scopes. I think it's all a live scope thing, and it's always been this weird fisherman thing, right? Where you had everyone wanted to fish Rayburn. They put more tournaments on Rayburn than anything else. Guys from Dallas and all around the country, they didn't like really come to Rayburn, but they kind of had to because of the tournaments. Mm-hmm. And then the Rayburn guys won't leave, right? Because we had so many big tournaments, we didn't have to leave. Now, I was one of those guys that I had to fish Rayburn a lot of times because they kept coming here. But the minute they left, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to go like travel everywhere else. Like me and Russell. I'll put it this way: this year we have 2 tournaments on the lake all year. We have a Toyota and a TXCT, and we will not fish another tournament on that lake for the rest of the year, unless we just happen to get in a random one. And we're not upset about it. We don't care. And we got our house there, but what.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, what happened is Rayburn's always been this like, dude, you got the locals of the locals. Like locals here usually go win everywhere else and then go win regionally and nationally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always hard to beat the locals. And we have so many of them that it's not one local. It's like 15 or 20 of them are always a possibility. And some guys get hot, right? Get hot for a year or two, whatever. And the numbers are down everywhere. It could be a financial thing. It could be a lot of different things. Although what I personally think it is, and it's not Live Scope's fault, but there's a group of guys that started winning with Live Scope. So like if we won, or like Corey Rambo won, or whatever, like you never really knew how we won, and it was like a random win here, and like like if you get 2 or 3 wins a year, you did something, because it was just so hard. And the weights were like pretty consistently, like you might barely win, or like 28 pounds was like and a 30-pound bag for years was like, we started weighing in, but like once a year, a 30-pound bag might win once or twice. when Live Scope came around, and it's the same kind of guys, and they weren't really known for winning before, and then they started winning, and the weights were big, and there was a big drop off between those guys and everyone else, and so it made these locals, or these, I would call them Live Scope locals, impossible to beat. And like I said, most of them, they can get mad all they want. Like, they never won before.
Yeah.
And so then it was like, and I think the numbers started dropping because it's like the regular guy could go fish. We could go do, you could go do, we won tournaments throwing frogs, throwing in the grass, 25 foot deep, top waters. I mean, you name it, sight fishing. Well, then all of a sudden you look up, and every tournament, Rayburn became this mecca of Live Scope, Rayburn and Toledo. And there wasn't a single tournament for the past 4 years that I know of that was allowed Live Scope that wasn't one Live Scoping. And every Toyota, like when we sit around the last year in the Toyotas, I'm looking around, I saw Chris McCall and Mike Hawkson won, and me and Livesey, we're the only, like, and I still Live Scoped a little bit. And then the next event, Steven Johnston was the only one in the top 25 that was not Live Scoping. And it was all the young guys. It was y'all, and everyone's like, "Oh, y'all are hating on young guys." Well, I was there, but the problem is like you couldn't win any other way. You couldn't even not even compete. You couldn't barely make a cut any other way. And so now you can't just go fish the grass, catch 20 pounds, and go, "Man, if I catch a 9-pounder, I might win this thing." No, you catch a 9-pounder and you're in 6th.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Well, I can't." And I think the numbers just went down, and they can say financially and all this stuff. I'm like, well, dude, everyone I know, like all those guys are still fishing. And I talk to too many of them. They all say the same thing. They're like, it's just not worth it. And so this year, Outlaw Outdoors, they banned it. Another trail that we're fishing says you have to catch 5 fish before you can turn it on. Toyotas went
How do
to
you police
BFLs.
that? How do you police? How do you police? You got to catch 5 before you can use it.
Just like anything. How do you police? How do you police people not like texting? How do you police people not text? Like he's like, "Man, I've already got the polygraph to where we're going to polygraph 3 guys no matter what, and we're going to pick someone random." And it's just one of those, because my deal is like, hey, if you get caught, I was like, just, that's the thing. I still see some of these organizations. There's some guys out there that have been caught doing some pretty bad stuff. They're still fishing. They just got DQ'd. And I'm like, hey, man, ban them for a year or 2. I bet you they don't do it again.
Yeah.
But I am glad all these organizations are like, there's been, I'm probably one of the few guys that I'm glad that what they've done. We complained for so long, Luke, about guys doing stuff the wrong ways that I'll take them putting their foot down on some stuff, because for a long time they didn't.
I agree. I had Fighter on last week, and he said that. He goes, "Man, there were, there are going to be some good guys that get caught up in it. Unfortunately, it affects the honest guys, but we've had a lot of shenanigans going on."
Yeah. So, and it was like that for it. We had him at FLW big time.
Yeah.
And so anyways, like I said, how are they going to police it? Look, man, just ban a guy. Like nowadays with social media, you get caught doing something, it sticks with you. And I kind of made a comment to some of the young guys, and I was like, hey, man, you can't scream ignorance. You can't do any of that. Like, I'm just really pay attention to the rules, really do some things, because right now it's not, you might get DQ'd, but that thing will stick with you for like a couple of years, possibly.
Yeah. For a long time. I mean,
for a long time.
Some of the guys that gotten called on BPT doing things like it don't ever go away. You see it in the comments all the time. Now you may go ahead and keep a career, get you some more sponsors, do well, but it don't ever just leave.
No, it don't leave. So, I mean, so yeah, anyways, but they're doing some stuff this year around here, trying different things. I tell everyone, I've been very open about it, that I'm like, hey, keep it, don't keep it, do some different stuff. I'm like, man, like the FL, I made so many satire videos with the FLW stuff of guys going, well, how are you going to do 3 hours then? And I'm like, I don't know, man. How are you, like, I don't know how these people pick up their kids from school. How do they remember to pick them up? Like, telling time, obviously, like, keeping track of time is obviously a pretty big deal for people that they don't know how to like get to job on time. How do you take an hour lunch break? I mean, these guys, I don't know how people do it. How are you gonna pay attention? I don't know. Get a phone, put an alarm up. Like, is this really like, dude? Fishermen might be they're gullible or they're the dumbest people in the world because like if you can't keep time, I'm sorry, Luke, dude. I just we do complain about a lot of things and like make stuff way harder than it needs to be.
That's probably that's facts right there. We do
Right?
complain too much and we make things too hard.
And I'm just sitting here like,
Just
and,
gets mess.
and I look at so we talked about these tournament organizations having a hard time. And I'm like, dude, it's hard. And like they're sitting there watching their numbers go down. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not going to blame a tournament organization for or against them trying to do something. If they keep live scope, is every tournament I fish next year, let me think about this, allows live scope. Every one of them. So I'm not complaining about, I've always complained about one thing about live scope, and it's very personal. It's just like, I just hate, we're going to get to see it, but I'm like, I just hate the fact of like, there's only one thing I don't like about it. I just hate having to hear some guy talk about how good someone is. And I'm like, dude, I fished against that guy for a long time. And I don't think he ever like got better than 100th place. And now all of a sudden they're like, man, that guy can fish. And I'm like, well, yeah, he can scope. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, dude, we scoped almost in every event last year. Like, I have nothing against it, but I just want to slow down on like crowning some of these guys as like the best fishermen ever, because we see it in the BPT and we're about to see it massively in the elites. I will stand out on my own. I know look, I don't have that many friends there. I will stand out on my own and go, buddy, when you show up to that knot, Luke, I want to tell you this. When you show up to that event and it's doesn't allow scope, we're about to find out. Okay. Now you might crush them, you might not. Like, it's going to see over. I'm going to give you some leeway period. But look, this is one other thing I want to ask you. Okay. If you're under 25, 26, 27, and you're on the elites, how many times have those guys in the last 6 years showed up to an event, forget the event, practice, and said, you're not allowed to turn on live scope, and fished 3 days of practice in a three or 4 day event without it on? How many of those guys have done that in the last 6 years?
Not many.
Okay, so look,
Ever.
me and you have been on the tour, and I don't care. Me, you, Kevin Van Dam, freaking Rick Clun. I'm not comparing us to that, but I'm saying.
When did I get on the Mount Rushmore bass fishing?
Yeah, right? Us
Thanks,
four.
bud.
Okay, what I'm saying is every one of us has gone out there and fished for about 6 to 7 hours and gone, what is going on? Because I haven't had a bite. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to look. And the one thing I'll say with live scope is like, I pull up, and that might happen to me on the lake, and I'm looking around going, well, there's no fish right here, you know? And I move on. Like, that thought of it is like, that is an amazing thing when you can sit around and look and go, man, I'm not fishing. Like, I don't know how to catch a fish, but I'm not fishing near any. Like, I just haven't found them yet.
Yeah.
But when you don't know if you're fishing over them, they're not hitting your, like that. We have done this our whole lives of having those moments of like, okay, now we're on day 2. Now we're on day 2. And now what do we do? Like, now I still haven't figured out how to catch a fish. And you have to go through the processes of changing baits and stuff. Now I look back going, well, shoot, I probably was never even thrown by one or whatever, but we didn't know that back then.
No.
I'm just saying that there's something to that. And I'm even having to, even like when I'm fishing the Toyotas this year, I went practicing the other day. Dude, I spend a lot more time fishing. A lot more time fishing and a lot less live scoping, because most of my day is going to be not live scoping. We only get 3 hours. So, you know, I'm just, but I still got to practice with it, which is a giant deal. If I didn't get to practice with it, I spend a lot more time on spots. I spend a lot more time doing stuff because I don't know. I just think I think reality is about to hit for some of them, and it's not a knock on them. It's just, It's a reality we've all faced for years.
So you're saying if you're picking your fantasy fishing teams, be careful who you pick in the non-scope tournaments.
I'm just saying, I think it's going to open some eyes to everyone that, man, fishing can be tough. And I just think, man, it's going to be different for some. And it's not a knock on them. Listen, it's like taking maps away from us and we got to go fish Kentucky Lake. Right? Like,
True.
It would be super hard if that's all we've ever had are maps. I'm not comparing the two. But what I'm saying is you've grown up with something, you're used to it, you're good with it, and then you take it away, right? It's going to be like, I couldn't go out there on Rayburn. I mean, I could find some stuff, but dude, it would be hard without a map. And I'm just saying, if I was going to fish deep.
I'm anxious to see how it goes because I know a lot of those guys, and you know a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
But there are some of them, man, they're really good fishermen, dude.
I didn't say they weren't.
No, I know. I'm just saying I think they can do it all. I think now I won't say all of them can. I know some younger guys, not necessarily on the elites, but it's all they do. They wouldn't know how to skip a jig under a dock to save their life. They may never have to, depending on
what they never have to, right?
They never have to, and that's fine. It's a different skill set. They can kick our teeth in, shaking them in all day long, and that's fine. But I'm saying I think we saw it with Tucker Smith and the Ultimate Angler, which, you know, it's Gunnersville. He knows Gunnersville very, 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 very well. He's looked at those bass a million times over. So that's a little different, right?
It's a little different, right?
Different. Congrats to him on winning it anyways, right? It's impressive, but I'm just saying it's a little different being on Gunnersville. He's had a ton of success there over the years, knows the drill, and he won that offshore on some fish that were stacked up, right? But I think that I think the standings will be interesting at those. But my point that I would say, and I said this on the show last year, so we saw it in MPFL, took scope away, and then you had some of these seasoned vets come in, right, that had been to those lakes a ton.
Yeah, that's a deal.
And dude, there are a lot of good fishermen in MPFL, okay, a lot of them. And watching those guys just dominate because they've been there.
Dude, look, that's what happened. So when I got to the tour and I would go, all those lakes I'd almost never been to. And so like the first day or two, I'm spinning around and then I'm watching prime example. We're at Champlain, right? And we're sitting there and I stayed with me, Russell, Chad Grigsby, and Brian Thrift.
Yep.
Okay.
This. Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and like I found some fish and doing all this stuff. And I'm talking to Thrift, you know, and Thrift's like, yeah, man, I did this and whatever. So after like day one, Thrift smashes them, right? It was back there when he was stomping on all them smallmouth and stuff on the floor. I'm like, hey, Thrift, you can't do that. He's like, what's wrong? Anyways, so I said, he goes, yeah, I got this spot that I always catch them at. He said, I didn't even practice it. I just showed up there and I can throw a topwater. It's just like whatever. So he caught like 17 pounds to start off the day. His first 5 fish, 17, 18 pounds. And I'm sitting here going, dang, right? And then he's like, yeah, I found about 20 rocks a day that have, you know, and I'm like, so you just idle all day long? And then I started realizing, I'm like, yeah, he's been there so much
so many
that
times.
he doesn't have to, he spent all of his days just graphing for rocks for his backup to his backup.
Mm-hmm.
And which is fine, right? And so like I look at all that and I was like, yeah, that became it. It's a thing, right? And that's all I'm just saying is that like for me, LiveScope has like I can go to a lake now and just dial it in and do things so much faster.
Yeah, I would agree.
And have the confidence of going good and bad. Like I now know why I'm not getting bit. Like, or I can see everything. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I mean, I don't dislike it for going to brand new lakes. What I'm saying is like, it is a very hard thing. And we had a lot of fishermen on the tour when me and you fished that were phenomenal that we struggled and they struggled. And we like, there was more of a struggle. And I just think there's going to be more of a struggle for some because it doesn't matter who those names are you're going to throw out there. Because I can tell you all the names that were freaking phenomenal that you looked up and go, man, Thrift didn't catch them very good at this event. And like Thrift never missed, but he does. Like guys still miss.
Human. Yeah, he can be human.
It was a lot. What I've seen now is they don't miss too much on scope and legs. But like we all can miss. And that's what I was saying on Rayburn. You might have a guy do really good on Rayburn, and then the next 2-3 weeks like looks below average. And then like figures them out a little bit. The scope and stuff, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's some guys they don't miss. Like their bad day is 18 pounds every single time. Every single time. And I just think it's different. And what's funny is when we had that BFL there, and I made a video about it, I had a BFL there the other day. A lot of those guys that haven't missed a BFL didn't show up to that event. And we had another little tournament that went on. They didn't show up to that event, and that didn't allow scope. And so you're seeing like guys not show up that were used to like top 10 and top 5 in every one of those events that didn't show up. And the weights on the BFL
were low. They were
big.
low.
I haven't, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, every tournament so far this year that hadn't had it low, and the lake's not that bad.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I meant to text you. When I saw the weights, I was like, "What is going on at Rayburn?"
Well, when you only get 3 hours to do it,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
we'll see. Listen, I could be 100% wrong. I've said up there, and not afraid to be the one guy that's been wrong, but. Dude, I've done this a long time, and me and you both know fishing, and fishing can be hard. And I just think it's going to be a lot harder for some of these guys.
We'll end with this. Guess where fishing's potentially going to be hard next week, especially with no scope. Guntersville, after this weather, this week after BPT thumped on their heads, next week no scope is going to be a wild kickoff to the Bassmaster Elite Series, in my opinion.
You know Guntersville enough. Would it be different? How much would it be different if there was scope?
Big time. Because I see this cold really knocking a lot of those fish back that they caught in BPT up shallow, grouping back up on bait. You know what they do. I mean, all the channel stuff, and scope would make a big difference.
Right. So it's funny how guys are like, "Oh, it's not going to
have it." You know, listen, dude. I fished the first ever ABT there. I talked about this at the first of the show. It was like 15 degrees at takeoff, something like that. Water temperature was in the high 30s, low 40s. And two buddies of mine set the all-time weight record in ABT with like almost 33 pounds and caught a 10-pounder. Like Guntersville still kicks them out. And that's a one day, right? But that was a long time ago before scope. But
did everyone catch them though?
No, it was. I was going to say
that's the point. Is that like someone's going to be like, and everyone always does this. They always look at tournaments and view tournaments based on winners. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't base tournaments on winners. I'm like, hey, this guy won it. And I'm like, I didn't say that guy can't fish. I have no idea. But I just start looking. I look down the list and I'm like, hey man, you notice how this guy never finishes like below 30th? He's in 70th and this and that.
Right.
And I'm just like, that's the thing, is that like, it's going to drop some guys back down to some different realities. And I think it's going to be like, see Rayburn right now, Rayburn has no grass because it's 9 foot low.
Okay.
So I don't even know how you catch one shallow right now. So like you take scope. I mean, it's going to be like, you can't just go wind around in the grass right now. I think it's in like a foot of water.
Miss K coming in 3 days of single digit weather leading up to that ABT. And then she said there were 85 zeros. That was 225 boats that year too, right, Miss K? I think 85 zeros. I didn't zero. I think I had one.
Okay, so Luke. So Luke, I'm just telling you, like,
it was miserable. 200 boats in that event.
So listen, Luke, that's my whole point to this, is that like fishing was tough, and I don't know how I feel like I stand alone on when I make these comments. I'm like, I don't even think they're outrageous. I don't even think they're a hot I think this is like normal.
Yeah, I'm with that. No, I think it's going to be difficult for some, for sure. I think that the cream always rises to the top, though.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to see the guys that get it, and Guntersville's going to be, I mean, what a way to start with no scope in this weather, because when they start practice, temperatures are going to be not even above freezing this coming Sunday. Like, it's going to be Sunday, Monday, whenever they start. It's going to be one of them, man. Like, buckle up. It ain't going to be an easy week. It'll look good on the top end, I think.
Yes.
And I think that, like you said, you kind of look down in the standings, though, to see what kind of tournament it is. Guntersville always kicks them out, but, man, I think this is going to be a lot harder than what the weights show at the end of the day every day.
Hey, I've made some pretty big claims over the past years, and like me and you both have said some stuff, and like 2 years later, and look down the road and go, "Told you so." And so, I mean,
yeah,
you know, and like I said, this isn't like, it's funny because people are like knocking. I'm like, y'all don't even know who I'm talking about. Like, I just think it's going to look different. Now, listen, I also think this. I think there's some old guys in the elites in both tours that have, like, I don't know what happened, but like they have, like, they're I think I will say this. I think for a long time that there was a way to fish, and if you just had that knowledge, that you could kind of get by without having to put in that much work. You know, like, this is the deal. I can go to this lake. I can go flip docks all day long and freaking do good, right? Or I can go over here and I can go flip bushes and I'm going to catch my weight. And like, this is all I'm going to do. I'm not really going to practice. Like, I think some of those guys are now, you can't go do that anymore. Like,
No.
you have to be, right? So it's not always against the young guys. I think a lot of them have, like, I wouldn't say gave up, but like realized that worked for a long time.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. So, I mean, because I'm not saying all of them. Dude, I know there's some young guys that can flat out catch them. I just think you're going to see the difference of the guys who can and the guys who can't. And you're going to see some old guys too that, like, well, shoot, they didn't make it with scope, and now they still ain't making it. Like, they didn't really, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you, buddy.
It's competitive, man.
Dude, it's the most competitive it's ever been.
Yes.
And only Seth Fighter said it on the show last week. It's only getting worse. He said it best. Like, the next couple of years, you're going to see some household names get bounced that don't requalify. And as the years go on, guys that make the classic every other year have very consistent careers that will no longer be elites because it's just that hard to make the cut, man. And
Yes.
I think we'll just keep seeing more and more of that for sure. Y'all make sure you're subscribed to my cold chili eating buddy here, Todd Castledine's YouTube channel. I know you are, but make sure you're liking and subscribing, all those things. And Todd, I appreciate you, buddy. Tell Britt that I'm sorry I kept you for this long, but I have really enjoyed this, my friend.
She doesn't care. She's all right. I'm going to be gone anyways for how many tournament days is it?
Oh, for the Triple Threat Series?
Yeah.
We're going to fish anywhere from 1 to 6. I'm not,
Okay, so it's,
I'll send you. I'm going to pull the names of the lakes out of the hats the week of. Could be West Coast, could be Northeast for the first one. I hadn't settled in on that, and still not sure on the payout.
I'll drive to Arkansas. I'll drive to Arkansas and wait for you to pull out the lake, and then I'll just go from there.
Be careful. What if I pull out Florida? What if I pull out New York?
Well, that's fine. I'm going to get closer.
You're going to be centrally located. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll just go central. Just hope it works out.
And there's a chance that I could send you the wrong lake just to throw you off, and then it's on Raver.
How many guys are going to show up?
It's going to be a crowd. There's going to be
enough.
It's gonna be a crowd. Yeah. Well, hey, enough when you're doing free entry fees and giving out $9 million.
Doesn't matter. I might be the only one.
You could be the only one. It's going to be a great platform for you and your brand.
Just write me a check and let me know when I can cash it.
Yes. Yeah. That's going to be the biggest question is when you can cash.
Hey, you know what? I think what you should do is just hand out cash.
No, we can't do that. Let's not.
Right there, right on the spot. 9 million. Just throwing out bills.
No, we can't do that. It'd be a lot of cardboard checks, a lot of poster board checks with Sharpie. It can't be as fancy as Miss K and her cardboard checks at the ABT or the MPFL. I'm gonna make them out of poster board I get from the dollar store. We're working on it.
On the ABT, they get to keep those checks.
They do now. At every event. And dude, yeah, the Happy Gilmore checks are the best.
Dude, yes. I was gonna, because like we got a bunch of those for the Bass Champs for skeeters and stuff like that. We don't get to keep them.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude,
early
those are the best.
Miss K made you give them back, but now, yeah, everybody gets to keep their big Happy Gilmore checks.
Good job, Miss K. That's a bit like, dude. Okay, I know you got to go, but listen. Anytime you can win something, kind of, it's not goofy. Like, listen, I've got two giant freaking wrestling belts for wins.
Yeah.
That are freaking the best thing. Me and Russell love them. Yeah. So like every one of my cardboard checks I got is 100% hanging up in my shop. I've never thrown. So like, I don't call them goofy. I love stuff like that. Like the bigger, the gaudier, the better.
We do the wrestling belts for the ABT 100 Angler of the Year. Dude, they're great. They're heavy, man. Like they're so, like I feel like I'm in the WWE.
Dude, they're awesome. Yeah. So don't ever think, maybe I'm the only one, but I love like big, gaudy, stupid stuff to win stuff like that. It's the best.
For sure, dude. You're talking to a guy with a Kool-Aid man over his shoulder right here. I like that. I'm all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Fat Todd Castledine. See you, buddy. Thank you. Todd Castledine right there. Appreciate him joining us. Appreciate all you low-lifers tuning in. 326,000 right now. Running crazy. Also, my apologies to Britt Castledine for ruining supper. I tend to do that when Todd and I get to talking. We are going to run. We're going to run over every single time. But man, I always appreciate his perspective on things because, like I said, he works in the industry. He's fished at the professional level, and just one of the most real humans that I know on this earth. So always great talking shop with Todd. Again, don't forget that Pro Guide Batteries Hope Classic that'll be in May on Table Rock Lake to support St. Jude. You can start signing up February the 2nd. February the 2nd for that through Fishing Chaos. But make sure you're following the Pro Guide Hope Classic on Instagram and Facebook. They've got pages set up there. But be sure to support that if there's any way you can, man. It's going to be one heck of an event to raise money for St. Jude's. Awesome show. Need a New Year's Dunkin' Butts. I do agree, and we will break that out, sir. We will get Josh Butts, and I have been talking about that lately, so we're going to have to bring that back. Take you out with some Biloxi Blues, and I'll be back next week. Most likely not so live, but this was fun. Thank y'all. Stay safe. Praying for all y'all that are in this mess and don't have power, man. Hopefully things will get back to normal sooner than later. All right? Thank y'all. See you.
From Jackson Town to Tupelo, I never could make it last. Spanish moss and silver.